So I wanted to get on here and just talk a little bit about my story and just the evolution over the last couple of years on my path to um, learning how to love myself and just kind of what sparked my awakening, if you want to call it that. So my name is Cassie and I am 44. When I was 42, I had reached my lowest point. I got to where did not, I didn't want to die, but I was disappointed when I woke up in the morning. My inner world was just, it was a downward spiral into darkness, and I could not see the light. My outer world looked perfect. I had a great career, two wonderful daughters, always looked the part, always played the part. Um, so on paper, everything was great, but inside I was dying. And so I made the decision. I woke up one morning and just surrendered. I gave everything to God and said, just tell me what to do. And that led to me calling, just I looked up a number online, and by 4 o'clock the next morning, I was on a plane to California. And that I got checked into a rehabilitation facility, and I believe that June of 2024 was probably the first time in my life that I was ever completely vulnerable and cried, like had a real, just no holding back. I just bawled. And I was lost. I did not know how I was going to recover. I did not know, I just didn't know what was going to happen. But at that point, I knew that if something did not drastically happen, that I was done for. Um, and so I did make the decision to go in there and do everything I had to do to get better. And being completely honest and vulnerable was, I guess, that first step. Um, just that first cry was it was a weight off of my chest. Being able to just let some of that pain and hurt that was going on inside of me out was just such a release that that in itself was so much therapy. And so anyway, getting there was scary and hard, but then I started to talk to the other people that were there because they were just as fucked up as I was, and feeling that kinship with them, that connection, and knowing that we were all broken, and I just was able to be broken with them, and we formed um, this closeness, this connection. We felt divinely led to each other in our brokenness, and we held on to that, and that was a huge part of my healing. Just being able to be vulnerable and speak my truth and not feel judged was great. Was a great start. It was all new, and to be honest, I loved being in my bubble. I loved being at the facility. I at that point, I did not want to go home. But everything was done for me. I didn't have to face the real world. I didn't have to face challenges. I didn't have to face anything while I was in there, but I was able to really start looking inward. And I didn't really I didn't really realize that until we were in a group meeting and the speaker said, "What makes you happy?" And could not, I couldn't, I didn't know. Um, I just couldn't think of anything that made me happy. I mean, of course, my children and my family, of course, they bring me such joy and happiness, but something that I was passionate about that brought me happiness, I couldn't think of anything. And then that sparked the kind of really going inward and seeing well, why don't I have anything that makes me happy? Why can't I think of an answer to that? And then I really started to question who I was as a person, what made me me, you know, what set of beliefs and dreams and just everything that makes a person a person. I didn't know. I had never truly came to a conclusion of something that I believed in on my own accord. It was all things that I was told to believe, and so I just did. Not to say that those things were wrong, but I was setting myself up, or I was defining who I was based on other people's beliefs, other people's core sense of being. And I had never really put any work in to come up with my own belief, my own sense of self. And that's kind of what sparked it. So that's kind of where it all began. While in treatment, I was given a lot of tools, and I soaked everything up. I soaked it up like a sponge. I wanted to learn as much as I could. And at that time, it was more, the goal was because I wanted my girls to be able to regain trust. It wasn't necessarily for me, but it sparked something. And so a lot of those tools I brought back home with me, and I started to utilize daily, and not realizing at the time, but these tools were teaching me to get to know myself better, to grow how I felt about myself, and to start changing how I valued myself, which I had no value, and I had no value in myself. And so growing these things about me really initiated that inward movement, and really starting to come to conclusions on how I felt about me. Some of those things that I utilized was meditation, breath work, yoga was a huge one. And then some were as simple as just getting up and making my bed every day, holding myself accountable. You know, just having that sense of worthiness, which was super small in making your bed, but I'm important enough to make the bed for myself. So just small things like that is what really got the ball rolling. And then really putting in work, which again grew baby steps. I mean, this was a million tiny shifts in the right direction. This was wanting to question parts of my belief system, wanting to question, well, why do I believe this way? Why do I think this way? Why do I value this? And then putting that work into opening myself up to bigger and grander versions. And I was scared to think outside of the box, because I was always taught you just have faith. And so getting outside of that box was another huge pivotal point. And then just growing from there. And then I came to realize that I was worthy of putting this time and work and effort into me, growing that sense of self, and realizing that I wasn't this worthless piece of shit that I always believed I was. Having those moments of clarity and seeing that I am worth this time, I am worth this effort, I'm deserving of this. Why do I hate this about myself? Why? Just being curious, asking questions, learning, doing all this work, looking stuff up on YouTube constantly, getting, just trying to see, okay, what are the benefits of meditation? Just seeing what was all out there, and doing this for me because it started to feel good to feel good. And so you get, you start getting addicted to these feelings, and it's a much better addiction to have than self-sabotage and self-hate, self-loathing. And so I just begin to find value in myself, and I'm still continuing to find that. It's going to be a lifelong evolution. I'll never stop seeking, I'll never stop growing. And I find so much joy in the little things, and I find so much peace in just being present and in the moment and enjoying an evening with my kids and just really truly feeling abundant because we're healthy, and I couldn't possibly want anything else in this moment. I'm not constantly thinking about, well, I'd be happy if, what if, I want more, I want. It's, being grateful and having that thankfulness and that joy in what I have and what I am and what I am becoming. All of this has just been a wonderful, beautiful journey, and I really feel that my purpose is to share this journey and to hopefully help other people be able to find themselves and to learn that they don't have to live in such a lonely, seeking worth in others, just a state of mind to where it's constantly needing validation. I provide myself with the love and care and respect that I deserve, and being able to find that within versus externally it gives me such a sense of peace, and I want to share that with other people. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed listening to my little short story, and yeah, I hope you decide to make some changes, or maybe not even changes, but little shifts in your focus to where you can start aligning and seeing how valuable you are and how great you are, because we all are. We all have our own gifts. We all have a great purpose, and it's really exciting to start looking for them, to start, just to really seek, and just it changes your entire reality. It changes your entire world. It shifts everything, and it's just it's a great place to be. So I sending all the love that I have out to you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.